Oh, yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cool, eh?
Let's dance, baby.
Look at that, eh?
G'day, Paulie.
So, hashtag we're back. Again.
My God, how long's it been?
Too long, eh?
Months.
Months. And there's been
pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been all sorts of reasons for it. You've been away in Australia for quite a while, so we were going to actually record something while you were away, eh? But I think we were best just to leave it alone until you came back, and just allow you have that time, eh?
Yeah. I was in Australia for 6 weeks, for family reasons. Fortunately, my dad has got the very early stages of dementia, and so the idea was to go out and spend a bit of quality time with my father while he's still got his memory and he's still up and about and able to do things. So it was a difficult time, but at the same time, a rewarding time to be out there with family and also doing lots of photography. I don't think I've actually taken so many photos in such a short space of time that I have this year out in Australia. It was incredible. I was there for 6 weeks, and I think I went out for about 25 sunrises.
Yeah. That's good. That's pretty good going, eh? You've been out more than I have.
Yeah, but you know what the amazing thing was? So before we get back to the whole, what we've been up to thing, is that I went there without a computer. Okay, so I just had my mobile phone and my camera gear, so I couldn't look over my images that I took. I couldn't look over any videos or anything that I did.
Mm-hmm.
So all I did was just enjoy the photography.
Yeah.
And you know what? It is so damn good. I think everyone should do it. Just forget about everything after you take that photograph and just enjoy the moment. Enjoy taking the photograph, being there, planning, going out. That's why we do it. And I think a lot of the time, because we spend so much time in front of the computer, we've actually forgotten why we actually do it to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially old school guys like us. I mean, there's a lot of kids out in the kids. When I say a lot of young generation, God, we're starting to show our age, aren't we, mate?
Well, you are.
I am. A lot of the younger generation, they're so addicted to social media that a lot of people actually do photography for the social media attention on some levels. So it was actually good for me as a 45-year-old to just forget all that again.
Yeah.
Wow. Very good. Anyway, sorry, got you distracted. I always do that.
No, not at all, mate. I was kind of half listening to my kids rattling on upstairs because their bedroom's right above mine, and they're
okay.
I was thinking, is that picking up on the mics or not?
No, I didn't hear it.
That's good.
Yeah. So the Australia trip, and before that, we had workshops, and then we had a bit of a brief period off because Tom Peters, everyone who listens to the podcast knows Tom Peters. He's made a decision to have a break from photography for personal reasons. So that means anything photography related. And we fully respect that and understand his decision. And we're going to miss having him on the show.
For sure.
But
we're going to crack on.
Tom, if you're listening, Tom, hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yep. Hopefully you are, mate.
And we miss you, mate.
And I was in touch with him the other day actually, and he seemed as though he was doing okay. He's just busy with doing his house up, I think. So
yeah, Tom's a few years younger than us, and he's got little kids. Like we've got little kids too. His kids are a couple of years younger than ours, but I think it's we've talked about it in podcasts in the past. It's not easy to juggle photography, is it?
No, not at all.
And have a full-time job and want to be with your family, and
yeah,
sometimes it gets a bit too much, and it's nice to sort of sometimes you have to prioritize things in life, and sometimes that means the photography has to be pushed to the side.
Yeah,
really, which is fair.
Well, that's it. That's definitely. I mean, even for me, to be honest, when you were away in Australia, and just before you went to Australia, I had a real break away from it for a month, and it's the first time I've actually stepped back for a whole month. It was weird because I was feeling panicked because I wasn't doing anything to do with photography, but at the same time, I felt as though I needed that break.
Yeah,
I just wanted to step back from it. There was a couple of reasons. One of the reasons was my eldest son was doing his last couple of years at primary school before he goes into secondary school in 3 weeks' time now when the schools go back. So I wanted to be kind of present while he had that last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And on top of that, I was kind of not losing my mojo, but I was starting to feel a little burned out with the whole thing.
Okay.
With doing it constantly, because with doing it full time, you kind of live, eat, sleep, breathe, everything to do with photography. It's constant. I don't have, any other way of escaping it. I don't know that that's the wrong term. I don't want to escape it, but it's I didn't have anything else to kind of focus my attention. So I was struggling a little. So I just stepped back from everything, put the camera down, put all the gear to one side. I didn't even do any videos, nothing. And I just started doing jobs around the house, laying floors, doing painting jobs, just anything to distract my attention or divert my attention away from photography.
Yeah.
Just to try and get the mind clear of it so I could start refocusing on new ideas and everything. I think that's the way I wanted to go about it.
Oh, yeah, it's a bloody good idea, mate. And I think that with any occupation, because photography is your full-time occupation, with any occupation, you need a break. That's why we get holiday pay.
Yeah. Well,
that's why we think how I do. You get your time off work and you go away on a holiday and you go to the beach or whatever it is with your family, and you escape your job. And when you come back to work later on, you're a better employee.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get run down or you can't focus, and sometimes a mixture of those things together and being tired and everything else, you probably don't perform as well, do you, on the job? And probably the same thing. Well, it's the same case with photography, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's nice to. Is there anything that you've done, mate, that in that time that you've had off that has improved your photography anyway, or it's just a complete break?
It was just a complete shut off. And
okay.
I think it's because you're not actually focusing on the photography anymore, you're focusing on other tasks.
Yes.
Then you start to have more ideas coming back.
Okay.
And I was getting to a point where I was running out of ideas. I was running out of motivation. I was running out of the spark almost for being creative. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So the way to get out of it for me was basically be creative in another way. So that was doing manual tasks, working with my hands, whatever it might have been. And because you're doing something else, your mind starts to clear and you start to be able to then refocus on that creative element of photography then.
Yeah, definitely.
And getting re-energized and thinking about, I could do this now, and I could do that. And that wasn't there before because I'd just got to the point where I was just having a creative block, let's say.
Yeah. What about that fitness tip I gave you? Did you try that one out for yourself?
No, I never got that. I can run as far as the pub just before closing. That's about me, mate. No, I haven't tried any of that yet. I just because I was using that time not only, as I say, is to step back from the photography and everything and doing the jobs around the house, but also to spend a little more time with my son and what have you. So I didn't really focus on anything else.
Okay.
but certainly something I would look at for future. That's
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think fitness is, and getting stimulation, trying to feed the creativity elsewhere outside of photography.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's music or appreciating different types of art.
Yeah.
Or reading poetry. You know, there's so many different forms of things you can do to try and feed that creativity to help you understand more about what creativity is when you pick your camera up again.
Yeah.
And I think that's really healthy. It is really, really healthy. And I find on a personal level, I do that on a regular basis, day to day. So when I do pick up the camera, I'm ready to go. It's like I've already been stretching, you know?
Yeah.
Between those big breaks. I mean, I've got a lot bigger breaks than what you have. You know, you normally are out at least once per week.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah,
usually.
at least.
At least.
Yeah. So I would probably be out for a week solid once every 2 months. I mean, with 6 or 7 years ago, when for me everything was just photography, I think it was really when digital hit its peak in technology, and we were realizing the absolute power of digital photography. Maybe even a bit further back, maybe 8 years ago, I was like out 2 or 3 days a week. I just couldn't stop. It was just yeah, it's because that was all you were experimenting and all that new stuff that was coming out, and it just beautiful time for sure. You know,
yeah, that's it.
When you get older and you feel like you discovered all of that stuff, you calm down, don't you?
Well, you do, and I think the thing is, as well, as we've talked about on previous episodes before, is if you're doing it like I do it for video as well, then it becomes a different ball game altogether. Because not only are you forcing yourself to go out to do photography, but you're forcing yourself to go and come up with a new concept for another video every week.
Yep.
So you're almost doubling the workload.
Yeah, and it's tough.
And in some cases, you would think that it would really harm your photography doing that, and it does in a certain respect, because it's making those creative decisions are almost doubled. So not only are you focusing on getting good images, but you're also focusing on the video challenges as well. But I think for me personally, I think it's a good thing, because that I think especially if you're self-employed, you kind of need that pressure sometimes to push you to get out. Yeah. Push you to get these new ideas. Otherwise,
you need that excuse. Otherwise, you're not going to roll out of bed, are you? And it's going to say, "Well, if I'm just going to go and take photos, well, you know, maybe."
Yeah. I'll just swan out when I feel like it. But yeah, but it's like today. I haven't got a clue. I didn't have a clue because I've just been busy doing other things today. I didn't have a clue where I was going tomorrow. And usually I go and film on a Monday. Because I put a video out on a Wednesday, so I like to go and film on a Monday, edit on a Tuesday, release on Wednesday.
Wow. Okay.
So I didn't have a clue where to go tomorrow, so I've been sat researching for the last hour before we came on where I was going to go tomorrow.
And where are you going?
I'm going to a watermill not far from here.
Oh, that's the one I like, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not that one, though. I've found another one.
Another one. Oh,
yeah, another one that's not photographed as much, and a medieval bridge which is right beside it as well.
Oh, geez, I'm curious to know how that is, mate. You have to send me some videos tomorrow.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, it looks good. It looks nice. So I thought I'll go and check that out tomorrow, because it's only an hour, 50 minutes away from here. So
okay,
not too bad.
Well, here's cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
We haven't seen each other for quite a while. I missed you, buddy.
Yeah, I missed you too.
What do you want? Rum and Coke.
Yeah, rum and Coke.
Is that warm? Is that warm Coke? You haven't got ice in that, have you?
No, I have ice, but it's melted because it's quite hot to here today.
How hot is it?
Well, I say quite hot. It's quite hot for here. It's been about 22, 23.
Oh, it's a scorcher. Jesus. Oh,
it's for here. Scorcher for here, I tell you. It's the first time I've seen the sun in about half a year.
I'm on a glass of white wine. It's a big glass, though. Actually,
yeah, I see that. It's half a bottle of white wine.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's half a bottle of white wine in a glass. I know I should never have bought these glasses. They're just too big.
They're great. That's the kind of glasses I want.
Yeah, what did you drink? Just had a glass of wine, you know?
Yeah. half a carafe.
Oh, I know. You got to be careful with wine over here in the summer because it's like 40 degrees every day at the moment, and you know you've got to make sure you keep your liquids up before you get stuck into the wine with your dinner because it just goes down like that. And
too easy.
Yeah,
too easy.
Yeah, too easy. So what else have we been up to, mate? What have you been doing?
Well, that's been it mainly. I had that break and then just focusing on getting out as much as possible and looking for new opportunities, looking for new ways of keeping this business alive.
Okay,
because you can't let it sit, otherwise it just dwindles away before you.
So you say you have to get out once a week, right? This, I mean, I know why. This is for people out there who don't quite understand the business side of things for you with regards to photography. When you say I have to get out once a week because it's my job, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're going out to build a house, right? You're going out and you're going to do a video and you're going to take some photos.
Yeah.
So how was that your job? Okay, if you're going out and doing a video, how does that fall into a category of it being a job?
Well, basically, because that is my marketing for my business. That's the way people see me. That's the way people get to know what my interests are, get to know what I like to photograph. That's how I market future upcoming workshops that I'm going to be doing. It's everything based around my business, basically. I mean, obviously you've got other ways of doing it, so other social media channels, but the most power you have as a landscape photographer, I feel anyway, is having a YouTube channel and being able to put yourself out there. So for me, that is part of my weekly routine. It's part of my job because that's how I promote my business. It's like my way of doing advertising.
Yeah. And it's not easy advertising, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Do you feel like when you try and put yourself out there for a reason beyond pleasure, that when I say reasons beyond pleasure, a lot of people obviously just put a photo up onto Facebook, because it's their hobby and they like people to say, that's a nice photo and, you're done with it. But how do you respond to sometimes being almost like a ghost amongst such a huge swarm of YouTubers and landscape photographers from all over the world? YouTube is so much in the UK. So many YouTubers in the UK. I mean, what's the go with that?
I have no idea. I don't know why. Because I think everybody thinks or has an idea that that's the way to get going and that's the way to start in landscape photography, and it's not necessarily. It's definitely a platform to use to go full time in photography, but it's not a way to go full time in photography, if you know what I mean. Solely, you can't rely on it as the sole medium in which you're going to go full time. Because
okay, just for people out there that don't know that much about YouTube, so say Mr. John Smith, right, decides to pick up a camera. Okay, he goes, I like this landscape photography stuff. You know what? I'm going to be a professional. Yeah. I'm going to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with being a professional in YouTube? That has nothing to do with anything.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Why are you professional photography if you got a YouTube channel? You're not.
No, you're not.
You find the pleasure of showing people what you're doing when you're out on field, and you probably like video editing at the same time.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't make you a professional photographer. And
no, it doesn't.
What makes you a professional photographer is actually when you have a business off it and you earn money off it, and doing workshops and video tutorials and selling prints, which is difficult these days. And getting money from sponsorships. I mean, that's that doesn't come from YouTube. YouTube.
No. I think people see it though, and they attack it from the wrong direction. So they think that that's the main goal, is to have our YouTube channel to become professional. Whereas instead of using YouTube as a way to market yourself to become professional, well, not to become professional, but to promote your profession. So if you've already had experience in doing landscape photography, you've already put the time in, you've already learned everything else that goes with being a landscape photographer. And believe me, it's not landscape photography. That is what goes with becoming a professional landscape photographer. It's not photography. 90% of it is, can you be your own manager? Can you be a video editor? Can you be a photographer? Can you do website work? Can you do whatever it might be? There's about 1,000 different job titles to go with it. It's not, I'm a landscape photographer and therefore I'm a professional photographer. It doesn't work like that.
Can you sell ice to Eskimos? You know,
basically,
people out there are good at selling themselves. I know so many, not so many, but I know, let's say, big name, although they present themselves as big name photographers, but they might not be, because you don't know how much money's in their bank account at the end of the day, do you? But people that present themselves as professional photographers, that the quality of images that they showcase aren't really at that standard. However, they are so damn good at selling themselves. They have the gift of selling themselves, which is what a lot of landscape photographers lack, because we're not we don't know marketing. You know?
No, and that there's always that though. I think that you always get that. You always get the people that are either really good at photography or they're really good at marketing. There's not very often that the two things gel and that there's a middle ground with that.
Yeah,
it's one or the other usually.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's not easy, and it's not easy when you're getting back to your original question about being like a ghost on YouTube, because it is like that. Because sometimes we can put a video out and nobody watches it. So you've basically taken my working week, which I do my really utmost to keep it 5 days. A working week. That's 2 days gone of my working week already. Going out, doing a video, shooting it, and then the next day is spent editing it. So that's 2 days of your working week spent just in marketing.
Yeah.
So that leaves you 3 days for all the rest. Answering emails, looking at other avenues to make income and all the rest of it. It's not really that much time left over.
No, it's not, is there?
No, not at all. So and most of that time is spent looking at other avenues, because print sales don't do it. You sell very few. You just have to be constantly shifting your attention to try and find the next thing that's going to bring you income.
Yeah. Oh, I don't tell you, I sold a print last week.
No, you didn't say.
Oh, I was wrapped. It was just before I left to come back to Italy when I was still in Australia, and it was Saturday last week, and I get an email to say I sold a print, and I go, oh, that's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I put images up years ago onto a site called Redbubble. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I had these images up there, and I had this one shot of Patagonia up on there, and it's one of my favourite images that I took. I don't know if you've read that. Do you remember that one with the, it's got those two peaks, and it's got the snow being blasted by the wind and the sun hitting it at the same time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, beautiful shot. One of my favourites. And I'd put it up onto Redbubble, and for some reason I didn't click the percentage for sales, and basically sold it for €5.
God.
Massive print too. Yeah.
See, this is the problem. And everybody thinks there's money in prints, eh?
Made €5 off it. But, you know, at the end of the day, someone's got my print on their wall. So there you go. There you go.
That's
little satisfaction.
Exactly. And I think the last one I sold was 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago.
You've been selling quite a lot of that tree that got chopped
Sycamore
down.
Gap.
Yeah.
Sycamore Gap. But
How many of you sold of that, mate?
no, maybe 8, maybe 9.
Okay.
8. Ticking over bit by bit.
Yeah, there's no money in prints. No money in prints at all. No money.
No, well, there is for some people. It's funny because you see some people in the States that manage to sell prints and that's their sole business.
Peter Lick.
Yeah, I mean, you get people like that'll sell prints and that's all they do. That's all they have to do.
Yeah.
But other people just, I don't know, just doesn't work that way. I think it's because unless you're really high-end, photography is severely devalued or not appreciated so much as an art form as everything else.
Oh, it has devalued. It has devalued.
Yeah, massively. I mean, I could tell that even by going to like a local craft fair.
Yeah.
And if you're a photographer and you've got people who've actually painted or done whatever it is, their work will stand above yours because people have the perception that they've put more effort into it than you have.
Bloody smartphones ruined it for everyone, didn't they?
Oh yeah, well, but that's what they think. Oh well, I could get that myself. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Yeah, mate, I was 23 years old when I picked up a camera for the first time. Got my first film camera, reflex film camera, beautiful old camera.
Yeah,
and I obviously didn't master the art of it quite that quickly. It was quite complex for me early in the beginning for many, many reasons. Yeah. But not long after me, taking photos of this camera, all my friends and all my family and everyone sort of around me knew that I was not a photographer, professional photographer, but I took photos and they were better than other people were taking photos, and not many people could take photos. So I was known by everybody to be, this passionate photographer, and with a higher respect. Today, people don't respect you for that as much, especially people around, you like I said, like your family, your friendship base. That's more like, Matt's takes people out on workshops. That's not the actual photography anymore, because the photos is someone doesn't look at your image anymore and goes, wow, did you see how good that shot was? Yeah. You don't get that as much anymore because we're just so damn spoiled, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, that's it. And you're vying for attention all the time.
Yeah.
Unless you whack the saturation up to plus 1,000 and stick it in everybody's face.
Yeah.
People aren't going to stop on it.
No. But we don't mind. That's how it is now. And I think that's how people have got to accept that is how it is now. If you're going to take an image, don't expect it to go anywhere, because the chances are today you're not going to get much attention from it, off social media at least. Outside of it, whether you do a little local gallery or you make a book or something, you use your image on another medium, you might get some attention and get some satisfaction from the hard work that you've put into your creative outlet. But yeah, it's just I think you've got to look at as photography as a whole holistic approach. It's not the photo anymore, it's everything around it.
And I think it works in several different ways, photography though, eh? It's like we were speaking before about video and why I do video.
Yeah.
So as a professional landscape photography, the reason why you still put images out there is because you're promoting again. It's promotion. It's not so much, you're not so much looking for the wow factor anymore. You're just putting yourself out there in as many different places as possible. So you're putting yourself out on YouTube in video form. You're putting yourself out on Instagram in image form. You're just using the different mediums to get yourself seen. And that's when you have a break, like I just did, that month-long break. I was still putting images out. So I was still, every now and then I would still work on an image and pop it up, because I didn't want to disappear entirely.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
You've got this fear in the back of your mind that
if you do stop completely, people just forget. And it
probably would happen, because people get used to seeing your name popping up all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
If that stops, then
you kind of try and got to brainwash your audience, don't you? If it's Clockwork Orange all the time, Paul Thompson workshop, eventually they go, oh, hang on, I'm going to workshop Paul Thompson.
But at the same time, as we've discussed before, and one of the things that we're big believers in, when you take people on workshop, it is holistic for so many reasons, isn't it? Because a lot of it is to do with, as I've discussed and been really open about my mental health, other people have the same sort of attitude and want to go away for that reason and find escape and find peace and quiet and just be able to focus their mind on that one thing, being out in nature and taking photographs.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the most important things.
Well, it was like I was saying before, like now, I was in Australia for 6 weeks, and I had the opportunity that where my parents live, they've relocated out into a little tiny country town about 8 years ago, and it's a dairy region. Probably the most, pretty close to the most southern point of Australian mainland. So it's winter in Australia right now, so it's pretty bloody cold and wet. And where mum and dad are, within 45 minutes, an hour drive at the most, you've got so many locations to photograph. You've got cold climate rainforests with trees that are over 1,000 years old, beautiful Myrtle Beach. You've got waterfalls. You've got beautiful surf beaches, lovely countryside with gum trees and rolling hills. So much to offer. So I was like literally getting up every second day or more than every second day. And shooting sunrises every single day, getting in the car, going out, and then bang, coming home before 10, 11 o'clock so I could spend the whole day with my parents and my boys that came out with me. And the satisfaction of just going out, enjoying those precious moments. Also, they're probably more precious than anyone else taking them at that moment, because I don't live in Australia anymore, and it was 2 years since I'd been home. So I got this extreme bond with the nature in Australia, and to go out and do that and then come home every single morning and be so satisfied. I went out and I got the best sunrise with this gum tree or whatever it was, and I saw some kangaroos jump across the road, and just that, nothing else. Because Paul, as you said in the past, and you're quite open about it, you're someone who suffers from depression. And I'm sure that the photography side of things, it's the going out that helps you. It's everything else later on that probably doesn't help that well. It's I'm going to put myself out there now and show everyone how much of an awesome time I had. I got this brilliant image and it's so good, and look at my composition, and the light was amazing, and you put it up and it's just like, what?
Crickets.
Nothing.
Nothing.
And all of a sudden the self-esteem drops off, and you get yourself into a dark moment, and you start thinking, why do I do it? And you're questioning yourself all the time. And this is this vicious circle that goes on. And you know what? You know me quite well. I'm a very enthusiastic person, and I tell you what, you'd have to punch me 100 times before I fell on the ground. But every time I put something out there, because let's face it, at the end of the day, if we're putting an image on the social media, we're doing it because we want people to appreciate it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it in the first place.
Well, no, because that's you want people to see what you're seeing.
Well, it's art. And at the end of the day, why would an artist paint a painting and then stick it in a wardrobe and close it and never show it to anyone the whole entire lifetime? That's not why you do art. There's many reasons why you do art. It's making the art and the meditation behind being creative while you're making that art. And then it's the satisfaction of getting appreciation for what you've created.
Well,
That's
I think that
what art is. So if you don't have that second half to it, that is a big punch in the face. And
it is.
It has shown in landscape photography to have killed people in the past.
Yeah.
People stopped completely photography because of that reason. And yeah, like I said, the photography for me, just going out and doing it for the main reason that we do it, and not that having that other part of it, was incredible, mate. So as like you said, you had this break, I had this break too. Yeah, definitely. We're going to start getting back into these podcasts, mate. It's been too bloody long.
Yeah, it has, definitely.
You know, those 7 people that listen to us, they want to hear.
And your mum.
Us. And my mum. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have. And that's why we wanted to kick it off again tonight and get going again. Because we've come up with a new logo, we've done all of that, and we were going to get cracking again, but these breaks just put a halt on things, and it's best not to force it anyway, because it's like anything creative that we've been discussing. Anything that you try to force in the creative field is not going to go well. You should never try and force it if it's not working.
Yeah, definitely.
If that means taking a step back and getting back into it, then that's what you should do. Yeah.
Well, taking a step back, like I said, and then looking for other points of interest that are, you know, looking for other things that are going to help you, you know, to get it back.
Yeah, exactly.
So breaks are good. I think that's what we can.
The theme of the podcast.
The theme of the podcast is, you know, it's not hashtag I'm back. It's
no, we've had that already.
having a break in photography. Where in my case, it wasn't actually having a break in photography. It was having a break from everything outside of the actual photograph. Yeah, and it is hard. It is hard.
But I mean, for me, that break that I had was the first actual break I'd had since I started this. The first actual break that I've just stepped away from it altogether.
All right, I've got this would be good. All right, so have a break. Right, so Paul Thompson, have a break. Do what I've just done. So just go out. Don't take video. Just go out, take photographs, find new locations, discover yourself. The thing is, and this is something that I admire about YouTubers. I admire. It's not admire at the same time. I'm sort of confused. A lot of time when you're out on field and taking a photograph, and especially when you're doing it by yourself, because let's face it, outside of workshops, normally we're on our own, aren't we? It's just us and nature. If you're doing the videos, all you're hearing is yourself talking all the time. I want to hear nature. I want to be able to hear the meditation of my empty thoughts just being. Okay, I'll use an example, right? I was out at this cold climate rainforest, which is only one of there's hardly any left in the world, and this is tiny. It's a small little pocket, very ancient. You're talking about a 10,000-year-old cold climate rainforest. If it goes back even further, they say that these areas like this go back to dinosaur periods, right? This is one little area, and I'm here. It's winter. It's pissing down with rain. I've got my Gore-Tex on. I actually had did I tell you I got a leech on my hand? It was sucking blood out of my hand. Yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, pissing down with rain, right? I'm walking through this rainforest, and obviously this time of year, no one is mad enough to be in this location apart from me. Just to get to the area was, you had to use a full drive to get there, and the roads were muddy and bendy, and it took me about an hour and a half. I eventually got to the location. What are you doing, dude?
Oh, I'm setting the scene.
Oh, okay, yeah, set the scene. Okay, I'll wait. So, all this leech off my hand, blood pissing out everywhere. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and I'm focusing on taking a photo of this tree, and all of a sudden I can start hearing it's like when you're at home on your own, when you're a little kid and you start hearing stuff that's not there and you start getting worried about ghosts and all that. Yeah. I'm here, I'm at this spot and I can hear Aboriginals. I can hear the didgeridoo. I can hear Aboriginal people in the bushes.
Did you just take some mushrooms before you went?
No, I'm telling you that when you've got an empty mind, well, not an empty mind, but in silence, when you're isolated, when you're on your own, your mind starts playing tricks on you, And I was in this area and I knew that there was nobody for at least 50 kilometers in any direction. There was a bit of thunder too. God, that's pretty fancy, isn't it, mate? It's good day, yeah. Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what I'm saying is if you're out there and I start taking videos now and I'm talking and I'm not in that mindset, how do I enjoy that process of being alone in nature?
Yeah.
You with me?
I know.
Making sense?
Yeah. I know what you mean. But I mean, for me, I think what it is I don't just ramble on the whole time that I'm out. So I'll set my camera up as I normally would as a photographer. I'll look around for compositions. I'll do everything that you normally would. I'll find a composition and I'll work on that for a while.
Yep.
So I'll have that period of silence where I'm actually working on that and I'm just focused on what's happening around me.
Yeah.
Once I've got that I know is going to work, then I'll go and do the filming side of it.
Okay.
And that's the difference. I've got in my head that I don't want to put any old crap images out just for the sake of the video.
Yep.
I want to be a photographer first.
Okay.
And a YouTuber second. I don't want to be a YouTuber that, that takes photographs. I want to be a photographer that does YouTube.
So the successful YouTubers out there, the really big successful YouTubers, a lot of them have actually said that video comes first.
Well, to some of them, it probably does.
Yeah. So I'm talking about probably the biggest names of YouTubers. I'm talking about guys that make enough money off YouTube to actually say that that they can earn a living just by putting a YouTube video once per week.
Yeah.
There's guys out there, and a lot of them actually, that the very first priority for them is video.
Yeah.
The photo comes after. And that's why a lot of these photographs aren't that good. And they're not up to, for me, for someone like me who's got a lot of experience on my belt, and I put, I'm quite critical about myself and other people's work. When I see images by a professional photographer, I think that's not up to standard. Maybe you shouldn't be calling yourself a professional landscape photographer. Maybe you should just call yourself a video maker.
Content creator, whatever you're going to call it. But you've got to be very careful about, But that's the thing. That's why I like to go in. That's the way I kind of wrestle it in my own head. Is basically I still like to go and get the enjoyment from the photography.
Yeah.
And that's why I concentrate on getting those images first. I'd rather not just do any old image just for the sake of the video. Yeah. Which is why I film it in reverse. So I'll get the image first and then I'll do the video.
Okay. Yeah.
Because then I know what I'm talking about. Then I know what I want to get across, the message I want to get across.
For sure. So apart from all this on the side, your videos, we've had a bit of our break. What's coming up over the next few months, mate? You got any exciting news to tell our listeners that are there? What's Paul Thompson got going on?
So let me think. So I've got October. I've got workshops in Canada with Adam Gibbs, with which we've got a couple of places left, I believe.
Okay, tell us more about that, mate. I don't know anything about that.
So we've got 2 workshops. We've got one on Vancouver Island, which is going to the old growth rainforests and stuff like that on the island.
Yeah.
The other one, we're visiting an island which has lots of taffany rock formations, as well as going to Parksville, where there's waterfalls and stuff like that to photograph. So 2 different workshops, and I think there's a couple of spots left. Don't quote me on it.
On both?
No, one of them's completely full. I think the rainforest one's probably full now.
Okay.
I think we may have a couple of spots left on the other one.
Okay, so they're what week workshops made, are they, or how?
They're in October, and I think it's late October. I have to check the dates, but I'll put those in the description of the podcast for anybody.
Yeah.
And then in November, Adam and I have another 2 workshops. We have 2 in Glencoe back to back.
Okay.
So we have 1 space left on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have 4 spaces, I think, left on the second one now.
Okay.
So, and then after that, we're looking at February. Is it early February? We have Tuscany.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beginning of February.
Yeah, February we got Tuscany. We did February this year. We chose February, which is in the middle. Well, it's sort of towards the end of winter. And we chose to do that because, look, I like to be different. You know that I don't like to be mainstream, and I never shot mainstream photography. And Tuscany, especially the region in Tuscany we go to, is very mainstream. A lot of people photograph there. And the majority of photographers, landscape photographers in Europe, have been to that region and photographed. And so our idea was to sort of shoot this area out in winter. So in winter where you don't have the fields of flowers and all those, those rich colours that you get in summer and spring. It was more to focus on winter, and winter, meaning being isolated. We don't have the crowds around that time of year, and we've got lots of fog.
Exactly, yeah.
And we've you get many days in this area. We get lots of fog that time of year, so it's this really moody time of year to be in Tuscany. And not just that. I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, I live in Italy, so I know Tuscany pretty well. I've been there many times. I speak the language, and I've got lots of contacts all through Italy, and it makes life easy to set up a workshop when you live in an area and know the area really well. So that's Tuscany out of the way. And then after Tuscany, we've got. Have you got anything after Tuscany, mate, or was it straight into Abruzzo?
It's straight into Abruzzo after that, I think.
Okay, so we've got it's become famous now, hasn't it? Our Abruzzo workshop.
It has.
It's taken a couple of years to sort of build traction, but our last workshop in May was a huge success. We had a really big group, people from all over, didn't we? Huh?
Yeah, it was great group.
Awesome group. And if people don't know about Abruzzo, they don't know about the workshop we do there. For you listening out there, I suggest you go and look at our websites, our social media channels, YouTube channels, and find a little bit more about it, because I think as far as a landscape photography workshop goes, it has so much to offer. It is so unique, and I guarantee if you come on a workshop with us in this area, you will come away a different person, because there's just something special about it, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, definitely. And it's because it's so little visited. I think that's one of the things, and it makes it so quiet. You don't really see that many photographers. In fact, I don't think we might have saw one on the last trip. We saw one on at Prato di Tivo.
Yeah.
So photographer out, and that was the whole week.
Yeah.
It's just us.
But it's what Abruzzo has to. It's not about just being on our own because we're there at a time of year. It's not a busy location. It is a picnic location, Abruzzo, for Italians, but not for foreigners, and especially not for foreign photographers, because it's so inaccessible to tourists for many reasons. Language barriers, country roads. It's not close to any airports. It's not easy to get to. You really got to know the culture to go to these areas. And we're lucky enough that we have that opportunity to be able to.
Yeah, definitely.
God, I know these areas better than some of the locals half the time. And it's just, I don't know. It's something like, how many workshops have we done abroad till now? 3?
3 workshops, I think, possibly 4.
I think we did. I think we've done 3,
and we've done a trip.
We've done a big trip. We scouted with a few other mates.
Yeah,
we scouted it. Went that first time. I wanted you to come over and have a look at it. Yeah. And every time that we do a workshop, we come away with friends.
Yeah.
We come away with people that for some reason they're attracted to this region that we offer. And there's just some special bond with those people in that area, and so much emotion of being in those landscapes, and the awesome traditional dinners that we have together, and the good food, the good wine, the feeling of being there is you come away with just. I mean, if we've had workshop participants that have come back more than once to the same location.
Exactly. And one booked while they were still on the last one. So there you go.
That's right, yeah.
So that tells you all you need to know. But we're looking at other locations that have a similar sort of feel as well, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that area, the region itself does have a lot more to offer. Unfortunately, you would have to do it as a separate workshop because it would just become too much.
Yeah, which is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at doing a different workshop in a different area, but that's something we're going to explore hopefully next year, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll get stuck into that. So, everything you're saying tonight, basically, everything to promote yourself, to build up, to do these workshops, because that's where the profession comes into it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
As being out there and teaching people photography and teaching them photography on field and giving them an experience that they wouldn't get otherwise.
For sure.
So it's a shame that we couldn't fit any more workshops in this year.
Yeah, definitely.
But
more to come. That's
yeah, for sure. Well, mate, it's been awesome
to be back.
I'm back.
Good to be back.
Cheers again, mate. Oh, you're finished. See, I've got the glass. See, I've still got a bit of wine left in mine. Yours has gone long ago.
I should have got the bottle in here. That's all. You've got the bottle in that glass.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, before we go, I mean, obviously, the idea is we want to do is at least one podcast per month, like we were doing. I think for 2 years solidly, we did a workshop.
Yeah.
I mean, did a podcast once per month. But for people out there that listen to our workshop, we'd like people to give us
podcast, not workshop.
God, sorry, podcast.
Come on, I'm hitting now.
Give us some feedback. Tell us what you would like us to talk about, or if you would like us to have someone on.
Yeah, because we have guests that we still need to get on yet that we started arranging.
I know, God, there's people that I'd talked to a year ago, and just sort of
we need to get going on it, and
for sure,
and get those people on. So I think it might be a case if we do our not regular one once a month, even if we can do an extra one in between sometime with a guest or whatever.
Definitely. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening, and we do apologize for this huge break, but we needed it.
Yeah, definitely.
And
we should be better for it.
Yep, for sure.
More on form.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us again, and hopefully we'll have another one out really soon, and we'll get cracking again, eh?
Yes.
Get a regular schedule going.
Definitely, mate.
Cool. Okay, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
See you later. Bye-bye.